Welcome to the Class 6A Girls State Championship Edition of Varsity, brought to you by United Supermarkets. I'm Ryan Aber, joined by Justin Harper. Justin, an interesting field here. A lot of West Side teams, only Tulsa Union from the East. Is this how you expected this bracket to play out?
I don't know if I expected 7 of 8 teams. I mean, it was clear through the season that the better teams were on the West Side. I knew with Edmond Memorial and Norman North and Putnam City North going east for the playoffs, I figured 2 of those would get through. Instead, they all get through. So yeah, I've never seen anything like it. Only one true East Side team in the bracket, and they get number 1 Midwest City, so they're going to be disposed of pretty quickly. So it's basically like just a little West Side all-star tournament here. That'll
certainly be a fun tournament kicking off Thursday at Catoosa. We all know about Rashay Jackson, the great player from Midwest City. Who are some of the other players you're looking forward to seeing in this field?
There is a wealth of talented players in 6A. Just on Midwest City's team alone, you have Kaylin Williams, and she's verbally committed to OU, and they did that in the summer of her sophomore year, which tells you what kind of player she is. Elizabeth Donahoe is signed from Edmond North, is signed with Oklahoma State. Camera King from Norman, just one of the most exciting point guards out there. And then you have Courtney Walker, who is the most exciting point guard out there for Edmond Santa Fe. And anyone would want to come watch her play. Her and Camera King are two of the better individual point guards I've seen in a long time, and for them to be in the same, King's 1 year older, but for them the same time period, it's pretty good. You go and see both of those in one day, you're doing well.
And obviously you think there's going to be 2 West Side teams in the finals and a West Side team winning the championship. Who do you have getting to the finals, presumably to play against Midwest City?
I think Norman will, and I don't think there's much doubt about it. I just think they stack up so well. They got a great draw in the bracket. They have Edmond Memorial first, which is a team that they've already played twice, and they did lose to them the first time, but then they came back the second time and beat them by 20. So they've got to like that matchup. They're incredibly familiar with their personnel. Then in the second round, they're either going to get Norman North, who they've beaten 22 straight times, so you know they would like that matchup, or Edmond North, which they just lit up and knocked out of the tournament last year. So the bracket couldn't have set up any better for Norman. And then, of course, I think Midwest City will get there, and that will make an interesting final. More than likely, Midwest City's just going to win it because they're the best team. I mean, it's hard to argue when you have the best players. They're so driven. They lost the title game by 2 points last year, so they basically wanted to fast forward to the championship game from that second. So I don't see Norman pulling the upset. I will say that if anyone could do it, it's Norman, because outside of Del City beating Midwest City by 2 last year in the final, Norman's the last team to beat them, and they've already played 3 times this year, so it would be a 4th time. I don't see Norman doing it, but if anyone could, it would be Norman with their defensive play against Midwest City's defensive play. The game would play out very similar to the way it did last year in the semifinals when the 2 met, and it went to overtime, and Norman actually had the final shot of the game to win it, and it clanged off, and Midwest City escaped by 2. I think the game would play out like that, but I think Norman would have to have a lot of things really go right for them to win.
Should be an interesting tournament. Wrapping up Saturday, 2:45 p.m. at the Mabee Center in Tulsa. Justin, thanks for joining us, and thank you. Check us out every day at newsok.com/varsity for the best high school coverage anywhere.